What if the real reason people stay poor isn't a lack of intelligence or effort, but a web of choices that actually make sense when life is uncertain? Why would a family buy a television before a water filter? Why would a parent in a struggling neighborhood pass on a free clinic but pay out of pocket for a private doctor? These choices sound irrational from the outside, but if we step closer, they tell a different story, one about relief, dignity, and how our brains behave when money is tight. Today I want to explore that story through the lens of the book Poor Economics by Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo. The authors are renowned economists who, along with Michael Kremer, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Economic Sciences in 2019 for their experimental approach to tackling global poverty. The book does not scold people who are poor. It asks careful questions, runs careful tests, and shows us patterns that can change how we act, no matter our income. I am not here to retell the book chapter by chapter. I am here to translate its insights into our daily American lives, add my own reflections, and offer a path you can start walking tonight. Here is the first big idea. Poverty is not just about having too little money. It is also about having too little slack. When there is no cushion, every small decision carries weight. And every small price or hassle can push you away from the best choice. If you have ever postponed a dentist appointment because the copay and the time off work felt like too much right now, you have touched this reality. When life has no buffer, your mind narrows to what will feel better today, not what will pay off next spring. That is not laziness, that is human. Let's talk about food and joy. The book describes families who spend on sugar, tea, or entertainment even when calories are scarce. From a distance, this seems wrong. Up close, it is understandable. Pleasure is not a luxury when life is hard, it is fuel. In the United States, we see the same pattern in different clothes. You get off a long shift, your back hurts. You pass 2 drive-thrus and a boba shop on your way to a bus stop. The cheap, tasty option is right there. The salmon and broccoli you promised yourself you would cook feels far away. I have been there. After a long day of work, I have chosen the streaming subscription that takes my mind off stress over the vitamin subscription that promises benefits I cannot see yet. I have added a flavored coffee drink to my cart because it offered comfort in 5 minutes, not 5 months. So what do? The lesson is not to shame ourselves for seeking joy. The lesson is to structure joy so it does not sabotage the rest of our lives. Here is one simple move that changed my month. I created a tiny treats and relief budget line, just a few dollars each week, so joy is planned rather than impulsive. Then I made a default grocery list that lives on my phone: rice, eggs, frozen vegetables, beans, chicken thighs, fruit. This removed friction when I was tired. The treats stayed, the base of my diet improved. The choice became easier, not heavier. You can do the same, a small automatic order every Sunday evening for staples and a small guilt-free line for pleasure. Now let's talk about status pressure, the quiet force that ruins budgets and keeps people stuck. The book describes families who spend on ceremonies and gifts that protect dignity. Before we judge, check your own life. In America, we feel this with weddings, funerals, prom outfits, baby showers, and the holidays. The pressure to keep up is not just vanity, it is insurance. When you maintain face in your community shows up when you need help. That is valuable, but the bill can be brutal. If you have ever swiped a credit card you could not pay off for a celebration, I have a script for you. I used it with a relative when we were planning an event on a budget. It goes like this: I want to honor this moment with you, and I want to do it in a way that does not hurt any of us 6 months from now. Here are 2 options we can afford. Which one feels more loving? Naming the future cost changes the conversation from ego to care. People respond to care. If someone pushes back, repeat the phrase, I want us to be okay 6 months from now. You are not refusing generosity. You are practicing a deeper form of generosity, the kind that protects your family in July and in January. Health is the next battlefield. The book shows that people often skip preventive care even when it is cheap, then spend much more when they are seriously ill. We do this too. Free flu shots sit on pharmacy signs every fall. Yet many of us do not go. Why? Because prevention has 2 hidden taxes: hassle and invisibility. You have to schedule it, travel, wait, and there is no immediate payoff you can feel. When something is free, it can also feel like it has no value. Your brain underestimates it. Here's how I beat that trap for myself. First, I bundle preventive moves with something enjoyable. Flu shot plus a latte I budgeted for. Annual checkup plus lunch with a friend I have not seen in a while. Second, I set reminders that are annoyingly specific. On Tuesday at 2:15, walk to the clinic across from the library. Ask for the nurse station on the left. Vague plans die, specific plans stick. Third, I keep one small health item in my home at all times. A basic water filter or a few packets of rehydration mix for stomach bugs. When the smallest safety net is already there, the next healthy choice gets easier. Education is often presented as the great escape, but poor economics reminds us that quality matters more than slogans. If the local school is weak or chaotic, if teacher absenteeism is high, if kids do not feel safe or seen, then just go to school is not a plan, it is a wish. I grew up hearing that every child should work harder. Effort matters, yes, but opportunity is not the same across neighborhoods. What can we do at the household level? Two things. First, put your energy where it counts most. Consistent practice with gentle pressure. Reading 50 minutes out loud with a child every school night from the start of kindergarten to the end of 5th grade. Compounds more than any once-a-year motivation talk. Keep the books visible. Choose stories your kid actually likes, not the ones you wish they liked. Second, find or build micro-quality. If your school day is shaky, look for a weekend library program, a church tutoring circle, an older neighbor who is great at math and will swap 2 hours of help for a home-cooked meal. The book shows that small, well-targeted boosts, like a good tutor who shows up, beat big. Vague promises. If you are in a position to give, volunteer as that reliable adult. 1 hour a week, same kid for 1 semester. You will be shocked at how much that matters. Family size is another sensitive area the book explores. Many parents in poor settings hope for more children because children are insurance for old age or because sons are expected to carry heavier work. In the United States, the dynamics are different. But the core fear remains: who will take care of me when I am 40, when I am 70? The honest answer is you, not alone, but on purpose. This is where building a basic safety net transforms everything. Start with a micro emergency fund, even if it is just $20 at first. Open a no-fee account at a local credit union. Automate a tiny deposit every Friday. The amount matters less than the habit. The first time you pay a surprise expense from that fund rather than a late fee, you will feel the power of insurance you built yourself. Risk is the constant background noise of poverty. When the car's transmission breaks, when a child is sick, when hours get cut. The pain is not just the bill, it is the disruption. The book documents how people in poverty take on many small jobs to spread risk, yet rarely get the stability that comes from a core skill or a strong network. If you are juggling 3 gigs right now, here's a strategy I have used with listeners who feel stuck. Build a portfolio of stability. A portfolio of stability has 3 parts. 1, a core skill that someone will pay for even in a slow month. This could be basic bookkeeping, forklift operation, medical coding, childcare with certifications, or machine maintenance. Pick 1 skill you can improve steadily. 2, a people safety net. Write down 10 people who would take your call if you were in trouble and 10 people you would help if they were in trouble. Call or text 2 of them every week. This is not networking in the fake sense. It is mutual defense. 3, a system for handling shocks. Keep a simple when things go wrong checklist on your fridge: who to call for a tow, where to get a zero-interest advance, which clinic takes walk-ins. When the worst day comes, you do not want to think, you want to execute. Let's come back to the hard truth that underpins the book. Many traps are psychological. Present bias, caring more about today than tomorrow, is universal. When you are poor, present bias is amplified by stress. That means our tools must be behavioral, not just moral. Telling yourself to be disciplined is like telling a drowning person to swim harder. You need a life jacket, so let us design life jackets. Here is one I use for digital distraction, which steals time from learning and sleep. I set my phone to open with a no-friction reading app rather than social media. The first screen shows a book I am reading and a 30-second timer that says, just start. When I want to scroll, I promise myself I can scroll after I read 2 pages. 2 pages become 6. It works because it lowers the barrier to the right choice instead of trying to push away the wrong choice. You can do something similar with money. Set your paycheck to auto-split, a small amount to checking, a small amount to savings, a small amount to bills. Do not trust future you to move money later. Future you is busy, tired, and tempted. Automate for future you. Another insight from the book that hit me hard: people often distrust what is free. If a medicine or a service is free, it can feel cheap, unproven, or like charity with a catch. This is not ignorance. It is experience. Many of us have learned that free comes with fine print, so when we design our own lives, we can make free feel valuable. When I started a new exercise habit, I told 2 friends, I am walking for 20 minutes after dinner from Monday through Friday. If I skip, I owe you a coffee. I turned a free habit into a commitment with social stakes. Suddenly it mattered. The book also shows how tiny fees or hassles can destroy good plans. A small bus fare to a clinic, a long wait time, a missing form, each can drop participation dramatically. Think about your own life. Where do small frictions derail you? For me, it was my multi-step retirement account login. I would put it off for months because I hated the process. My fix was boring and brilliant. I wrote the steps on a note card and taped it inside my desk. The next time it took 2 minutes. The barrier fell. Progress followed. Education for adults deserves its own section. If you are over 20 and you feel behind, you are not. You are alive, and that means you can learn. The challenge is not intelligence, it is energy. Build a 2-hour weekly slot that is sacred. I like Saturday mornings from 8 to 10, but you choose. Put it on your calendar. When the time comes, do not decide what to learn, decide in advance. If you are building a medical coding skill, enroll in a course and follow the modules. If you are gaining confidence with spreadsheets, pick a free tutorial series and stick to it. When the 2 hours end, close the laptop. You are done. The power of 2 hours a week for 1 year beats the myth of the perfect boot camp you never start. Money management intersects with mental health more than we admit. The book's stories of spending on small pleasures taught me compassion. If you numb your stress with purchases, you are not weak, you are human. The goal is not to eliminate comfort. It is to change its form. Instead of impulse shopping, create an emotional first aid kit that costs almost nothing. A short playlist, a walk route, a friend you can text without explaining anything, a paperback you actually enjoy. Put the kit in reach. On bad days, reach for it first, then decide if you still want the purchase. Most of the time, the craving fades. We also need to talk about dignity. One reason people in the book paid for private doctors was respect. Someone looked them in the eye, explained what was happening, and cared. You can recreate dignity in public systems by preparing your questions and insisting calmly on answers. Before a clinic visit, write down 3 things: why you are there, what you are worried it might be, and what you need to know before you leave. Hand the list to the nurse. Say, these are the 3 things I hope we can cover. You are not being difficult, you are being clear. Clarity returns dignity. And dignity changes outcomes. Housing is another area where small shifts matter. Moving frequently destroys the social fabric that protects you. If you can negotiate stability even if the rent is a touch higher. I once offered a landlord a simple trade, a slightly longer lease in exchange for a written agreement on no surprise increases during that period. He agreed. The stability lowered my stress and let me plan. If you cannot negotiate, build stability with people, know your neighbors, swap childcare once a month, share tools. A stable web of help is sometimes more valuable than a lower rent with strangers. Let's get practical and build a short ladder you can climb, 1 rung at a time. Rung 1 is food. Create a default grocery list and a weekly auto order for staples. Add 1 fun item you love. Keep joy in the plan. Rung 2 is health. Book 1 preventive appointment this week. If you cannot book, at least set a specific time to walk to the pharmacy and ask about the free or low-cost options available. Rung 3 is money. Open a separate savings account and automate a tiny weekly transfer. Start with what you can keep going. Rung 4 is learning. Pick a 2-hour slot. Commit to it for 4 weeks in a row. Rung 5 is community. Text 2 people today just to check in. Close the loop on a relationship you have been meaning to nurture. As you climb, you will face a voice that says, this is too small to matter. That voice is lying to you. The research behind poor economics shows that small, well-designed changes can reshape behavior and create real gains. Think about it like plumbing, not poetry. You are rerouting the flow of your day so that good choices require less willpower. Each tiny pipe you move, an auto transfer, a standing grocery order, a prepared question for the doctor, reduces leaks. Over months, those leaks become lakes. Now, a word about fairness. It is true that some people start with more. It is true that neighborhoods, schools, and jobs are not equal. This is not a pep talk that ignores that truth. It is a practice plan for playing the hand you hold today while you work to build a better one. The authors of Poor Economics ask us to replace big slogans with big empathy and small, targeted actions. That is how you help a child. That is how you help yourself. Let me add one personal story. When I was in my early 20s, I tried to change my life in one weekend. I made a budget that would have impressed a robot. I cooked bland food for 3 days, took cold showers, and told everyone I was a new person. By Wednesday, I was back to takeout and shame. What finally worked for me was almost boring. I automated a tiny transfer each Friday morning. I set a simple rule for lunch, leftovers on weekdays, anything I want on Saturday. I limited my streaming shows to 2 evenings and replaced the other evenings with a book I actually liked, not a serious book I thought I should like. 6 months later, my savings existed, my energy was steadier, and I felt proud, not because I had a perfect life, but because my habits fit who I really am. If you are listening and thinking, I have tried before, I want you to hear this. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. The point of a book like Poor Economics is not to hand you a miracle. It is to hand you a lens. Through that lens, you can see why your previous attempts collapsed and then design around the weak points. So here is your 1-week challenge, crafted to dodge the most common traps. On Sunday, set up a small auto transfer to a savings account, even if it is $5. On Monday, place a grocery order for 3 healthy staples you can cook fast. On Tuesday, make your preventive appointment or walk to the pharmacy and ask about free shots. On Wednesday, spend 30 minutes listing 10 people you trust and send 2 quick check-ins. On Thursday, protect a 2-hour learning block for Saturday morning. On Friday, choose one treat you will enjoy with full permission, not as a secret. On Saturday, keep your learning appointment. That is it. 7 days, 7 moves. You will feel different, not because you bought a new identity, but because you built a new rhythm. Before we close, remember the deeper invitation of this work, humility. The book asks us to drop the story that the poor are foolish and the rich are wise. It asks us to notice how close we all are to these traps when stress rises and slack disappears. When we understand that, we stop lecturing and start listening. We start designing systems that meet people where they are, and we start treating ourselves with the same respect. If you want a single sentence to carry out of this episode, take this: make the good choice the easy choice and make it in advance. That is the heart of escaping any trap, financial or otherwise. Arrange your week so that future you does not need to be a superhero. Future you should only need to follow the plan you set when you were calm. I hope this gave you practical tools and a softer gaze toward yourself and others. You deserve a life that is not just wealthier in dollars, but richer in health, thought, spirit, and relationships. That life is built piece by piece with empathy and design, not shame and slogans. If this inspired you, please give it a like. Subscribe for more weekly insights and share it with a friend who's on this journey with you. Thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. See you in the next video.